Allow yourself to feel like crap. What? What is that like? Why? This is an idea I've been playing around with. So I have some notes I'm gonna read off, but it's like the idea of allowing yourself to feel like crap when you do a stupid thing in order to complete the feedback loop and actually allow yourself to make changes. Like when you go out drinking, not taking an aspirin to dull the hangover the next day, or when you don't get a lot of sleep because you're on your phone and like just not allowing yourself to take caffeine in order to feel energized for the next day. Because it's an idea I've had because with doing the 75-day heart and making sure I get my exercise in, there's been days at the start of it where I sacrificed sleep in order to get my exercise in, even though I was tired and I wanted to sleep then. And when I do that, I I'm like, okay, well, I need to make sure I go for my walk. I need to make sure I lift earlier in the day. And I allow the pain, the annoyance, the tiredness to be a reminder to like make a change. And if I like gave in, I'm like, well, I could either take a bunch of caffeine the next day and be like, okay, well, now I'm gonna feel a bunch of really energized, or I could push off the walk and not go through with it. But both of those I think are bad. Um, Yeah, so it's about a lot like correcting your behavior. So an extreme example of this would be like when you're getting getting cavity drilled without pain meds or any numbing at all. Like, you think you'd ever skip brushing or flossing your teeth if you had to get a cavity filled without any numbing? I'm not recommending people do this, but like it's a thought to something to think about. Like, would you ever skip brushing your teeth? Would you ever be too tired to brush your teeth if and if you were, okay, well now you get a second cavity. You have to go through that experience again. You think you're gonna like not brush a second time? Like, dude, if I did that, I would literally go throughout the day with a toothbrush in my pocket. Um, so it's like a kid. Like when we're young, we learn that fire hurts. Like I don't see many people going out and touching fires or touching things that hurt them. Um, but people don't like the pain, so they make it go away by kicking it down the road and kind of treating the symptoms. This leads to people with chronic fatigue from taking too much caffeine. I can speak to this personally because during school, I would often use caffeine as a substitute for sleep, and it wrecked my body. Granted, I was taking like 900 milligrams a day of energy drinks, but like your brain, just the brain fog is horrible. The lack of sleep, lack of electrolytes, like, and then let's see. I'm not saying that we should stop treating the symptoms. What I'm saying is that we should stop treating the symptoms instead of the. What I'm saying is that we should stop treating the symptoms, instead treat the disease. There are people out there who claim to like be super healthy and not get sick. I hate getting sick, and I've put a great deal of effort into like my health in order to not get sick again. And I mean, so far I'm not sick right now, so it's going quite well. Now, I know there are limits here. We should not withhold chemo or pain meds from people with chronic or severe diseases or any other form of medicine from people who need it. But I think that as a society, we're severely hurting ourselves by treating symptoms. Take energy drink. We take energy drinks to help us concentrate and stay up late working. We never wonder why we can't concentrate without energy drinks, or why we let our work pile up so much that we need to sacrifice sleep in order to get it done. Are we constantly consuming social media through the day? Are we constantly listening to stuff while we're working, training our minds to never be able to focus on a single thing at a time? Are we getting proper nutrition, exercise, spending time out in nature? And for this, I'm actually speaking of personal experience. So I'm seriously asking this question: how much of my ADHD is self-imposed? Forcing kids to learn materials that they don't give a fuck about, then the kid realizes that they can go on autopilot mode by playing with things at their desk or listening to things while they do their homework. When I'm building stuff with my hands, Legos, woodworking, I don't have an issue focusing. I wonder if I never trained myself to listen while I was working or multitask, like what state would my neurochemistry be today? Would I have ADHD? And then one of the important things to add to this is that it's not punishment. You're not punishing yourself here, because I think that's very important to address. Like, I don't want people being like, oh, well, I cheated on my diet, so now I have to punish myself because you're saying punishing makes the thing stick. Like, no, that's really bad and induces shame and doesn't work, and is probably going to lead to you seeking dopamine behaviors and causing you to cheat on your diet again. But like, the natural consequence to cheating on your diet is feeling like crap the next day. Like, if you're doing strict carnivore, strict keto, and you cheat on that, you have some candy, you're going to feel like shit the next day. Don't take aspirin. Don't take caffeine. Allow yourself to feel like shit because you messed up and you did something that was stupid. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about here. I'm like, stop treating the symptoms and we'll be able to find where the disease is. So I asked ChatGPT, I was just talking to it about this, and here is some of its thoughts on it. So, pain as a teacher. Pain, whether physical or emotional, serves as evolutionary signals that sometimes need attention or change. When we dull this pain, immediate relief versus long-term consequences. Taking aspirin after drinking might reduce headaches, but it doesn't address the drinking itself. Over time, this creates a cycle of poor choices and reliance on Band-Aid solutions. Unmasking pain drives changes. Allowing yourself to feel the full hangover, the exhaustion after scrolling online, or even the consequences of neglecting your health brings issues to the forefront. Pain motivates reflection and adjustment. It does. When you injure yourself running, I look at that, I'm like, why did I injure myself running? The other option is just pop a bunch of aspirin and go running again. But like, the pain is a feedback that your body is giving you. If pain wasn't useful, your body wouldn't have evolved to feel it. Think about that. Like, taking anxiety medication. And okay, first off, I'm not a doctor. This is for entertainment purposes only and are simply thoughts that I've had. But taking anxiety medication, I would never personally do it myself, because I believe anxiety shows you where you should be looking because you're fucking up in your life, and you should be examining the areas of your life you have anxiety over. Like, there's reasons why our brain kicks out these emotions. It's not just like going haywire. And if it's going haywire, why? It's not just going haywire for no reason. Things don't just break for no reason. There's something going on there. 2. Treating symptoms versus root causes. The societal tendency to treat symptoms over the root cause has far-reaching implications. Energy drinks for fatigue. Why are we tired? Poor sleep hygiene, stress, overcommitment. By masking fatigue with caffeine, we never resolve the issue. And the worst of all, we kick it down the road. Like, I had to literally go... I realized how unhealthy my caffeine habit was back in college, and I went just cold turkey on it, and I slept for a month. Like, not actually for a month, but I basically can't remember what happened for the course of a month, and I spent almost all of it sleeping, because my body was so insanely fatigued from how hard I pushed it. ADHD or overstimulation. You raised an interesting point about ADHD potentially being exacerbated by constant multitasking, overstimulation, or disinterest in traditional learning structures. What would focus look like in a world without constant distraction? Could many people reclaim their attention spans by simplifying their environment and habits? I have ADHD. I take Adderall for my ADHD. I also spend a lot of time practicing the skill of being able to focus, which is a skill. Like, for me, it is a skill that I focus. Like, I meditate. My meditation is me focusing on my breath work and trying to keep my mind on my breath work, and that is the form of meditation I do. I do mindfulness, which means when I'm doing an activity, I absorb myself in the activity. Sometimes I do think it's kind of interesting to notice myself be on autopilot and allow myself to be on autopilot, but consciously aware of that, like when I'm doing chores. It's kind of like sitting back in the brain, watching everything happen through my eyes, and my body is just going. I think it's cool. It's not something I do all the time, but it's kind of like a disassociation, which I don't know whether it's good or bad. It's just something I do. I don't think it's good to spend too much time there. Responsibility, not punishment. This philosophy isn't about punishing ourselves. It's about learning from causes and effects, some key takeaways, natural consequences. If we feel tired because we stay up late, we respect the tiredness and we learn to value sleep. If a project fails because we are procrastinating, we respect the failure and recalibrate our habits. Self-awareness. This approach forces introspection. Why am I experiencing this discomfort? What is causing it? How can I prevent it next time? The deeper societal issues. You're touching on something. You're touching on something cultural. The normalization of short-term fixes and avoidance of discomfort. Healthcare. We often address symptoms, painkillers for back pain, but really the root cause is posture, activity, chronic inflammation. I know, are you eating too much processed foods? That's horrible for inflammation. Sweeteners, horrible for inflammation. Artificial flavors, soybean oils, vegetable oils. Then education. We teach kids what to think, not how to think, then medicate them when they cannot focus on materials that don't engage them. I mean, I think people literally have work that suits them best. Like, I like tinkering with stuff. When I'm tinkering with stuff, I have no issue focusing. I can 100% apply my attention to that. And pretty much for everyone I've met, they have something that they like doing, that if they were doing that and if they could somehow find a way to make that their job, they could have such an easy time focusing on it. Education. We teach kids what, no, we did that. Work culture. Hustle culture rewards burning the candle at both ends. The solution isn't more caffeine or productivity hacks. It's better boundaries, healthier habits, and reevaluating priorities. Seriously. It's not productivity, it's prioritization that you should be looking at. You can only get so much stuff done in a day. You need to prioritize what you can get done. Exceptions and compassion. You wisely note that this approach isn't universal. Severe pain, chronic illness, or conditions that require medical intervention don't fit this framework. Compassion and access to treatment are vital. However, everyday choices for managing discomfort, fatigue, laziness, mild stress, embracing the discomfort can teach resilience and discipline. Long-term vision. When we address root causes, we reduce the need for symptom-focused solutions. Practical applications. How can this philosophy shape behavior? Health. Instead of relying on over-the-counter solutions, focus on nutrition, hydration, sleep, and movement. Focus. Reduce overstimulation. Try deeper work without background noise or constant distraction. I've been doing this for the past month. It is amazing how much it actually helps. If you're having trouble focusing, instead of trying to make yourself do something, just sit still for 5 minutes and then re-attack your task. It helps. Literally it helps. It's like killing the energy, or not the energy, but I don't know, your brain just ooh, stimulation. Make yourself sit still, completely still for 5 minutes, and then go do whatever you need to get done. It really, really helps. It switches you into a whole other mode of work. Learning, embracing mistakes, don't rush to fix them, instead analyze and adapt. Emotions, allow yourself to feel negative emotions fully rather than numbing them with distractions like binge watching or social media. There's a reason why you're feeling those negative emotions. Get to the bottom of it. So, by willing to face the natural consequences of our actions, we stop outsourcing responsibility and start growing. Pain becomes a signal, not something to fear or avoid. The key is to shift the mindset from "why is that happening to me" to "what can I learn from this?" How do you think this philosophy could change the way you or others approach everyday challenges? Do you think it's scalable to broader societal habits? So that's what ChatGPT had to say about it. The first part was just my thoughts, but anyways, something to think about. What symptoms are you treating? Do you take caffeine? I'm not saying don't take caffeine. You can use caffeine as a tool to boost your metabolism in order to increase your metabolism, increase your testosterone, increase your hormones. Like, you can use these things as tools, but you can also use them as crutches. Like, a gun is a tool, but it's also something that can be used to kill people. And like, it's how you use it. The thing itself might not necessarily be bad, but how you're using it can be. So yeah, that's just a thought I had because I wasn't distracting myself with an audiobook while I was going for a walk. Peace out. There's my mouse.